The Labor Center has been building bridges across Iowa for 70 years, as we mentioned before, and they're saying that they can't afford to keep it open. We can't afford to close the Labor Center. If we close the Labor Center, we tear down bridges, we lose lives, we increase workplace discrimination, and it's not acceptable. And by the way, 1,000th of 1% of the university's budget, that's what they're cutting. Well, that's less money than the president of the university makes in a single year. A single year. We're calling on President Harold to take a moratorium on his own wage before he starts killing Iowans and increasing discrimination in the workplace. He's the one who should be looking at his own budget, not attacking the budgets of working Iowans across the state.
That's right.
Maybe they can sell a painting and save lives, right? What's the art collection that the University of Iowa owns? There are other places to find money without stealing it from working Iowans. We're going to hear now from Stacey Anderson. Stacey is a representative of the Steelworkers Union, and she's going to talk about the dangers that her members go through on a daily basis and how the Labor Center has made a difference in those people's lives.
Hello, my name is Stacey Anderson. I'm a native of Iowa. I'm born and raised here. I've been a labor leader for 20 years. 21 years ago, I was a single mother of two, and I knew I needed a job that was going to be more than minimum wage, so I went to work in a steel foundry. And I thought that I knew workers' rights and safety. I thought I knew, but I was sadly mistaken. I knew very little about my rights in the workplace and worker safety. It wasn't until I was introduced to the University of Iowa Labor Center that I realized that, I didn't know everything I needed to know about worker safety. And that's when I formed a relationship, which was 20 years ago, actually this year, with the Labor Center. The things that are faced with the workers in the foundry is we deal with molten metal. It's 3,200 degrees, and those are the things we deal with. Silica sand, we deal with those things. The silica sand is very harmful, and it can be very dangerous and grueling to work in a foundry. I wanted the environment to be safer from where I worked. So through the education through the Labor Center, that's where I gained that knowledge. I wanted my coworkers to walk out of the foundry when they hit that time clock the same way that they walked in that morning when they hit the time clock. And so the University of Iowa Labor Center gave me the tools to do that, to implement better committees for health and safety, and not just that they were functional, not that just went through the motions. So through that, we were able to keep people safer in our home. We spend 8 hours plus a day in that type of environment, 8 to 12 hours, 7 days a week, depending on the overtime, in that type of environment. And we needed a safer working conditions. So also with that, we face 8 to 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day is workplace harassment, workplace discrimination. I didn't want my coworkers to endure that. So the Labor Center gave us the tools and the knowledge to be able to combat that. There's always going to be somebody that has to go into work every day and face the humiliation of being discriminated against or harassed. And so that was one thing that we wanted to fight through being a labor leader. I did not want to see anybody have to go through that. I attribute my success as a labor leader to not only to my family for being supportive, to a former rep of mine who saw that I had the drive, but I needed education. So I attribute my success to this Labor Center, to be able to go in and represent union members and keep them safe, have healthy working conditions and wages. Just an environment that's, like I said, a foundry can be very grueling. So I attribute my success to this Labor Center. In reality, the Labor Center reaches more than the 2,100 people that they teach every year. They reach far more than that. We go back into the plants, the students go back into the plants, and they talk to their coworkers. They tell them what we've learned. Not only that, we talk to our neighbors, we talk to our families. So it is reached far more than the 2,100 people that they see as students each year. Through the value of education my union has received from this labor center, we were able to achieve safer working conditions and wages in my plant. I was able to send my children to college, both of my children. My youngest graduated this May from the University of Iowa and is contemplating going to the University of Iowa Law. We'll be taking the LSATs in September. So I want to remind the university that its Iowa workers are also parents. We're tax-paying parents and we're tuition-paying parents of children that attend this university. And we need these programs. So I urge them to keep this program open. And there's been state funding that has been set aside. You need to honor your commitment to keep this labor center open and to maintain this for working Iowans.